Putin warns NATO not to get sucked into the conflict in Ukraine, claiming Russia now has more nuclear weapons than the West. If NATO members keep supplying military equipment to Kyiv, Russian President Vladimir Putin says, there is a serious danger of NATO being drawn further into the Ukraine war. Putin said at the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum on Friday, of course, NATO is being drawn into the war in Ukraine. What are we talking here? Heavy military equipment is still being shipped to Ukraine, and the country may soon receive jets. Some members of the NATO alliance have discussed the possibility of supplying Ukraine with F-16 fighter jets, so the remark may have been referring to those plans. In the wake of World War II, the Western nations signed the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, to protect themselves from the Soviet Union. This alliance includes a mutual defense clause, which states that an attack on any member is considered an attack on all members. Even though Ukraine is not a member of NATO, some members have been shipping tanks and other military hardware to Kyiv, prompting Russia to threaten retaliation. Some examples of Western hardware that have been shipped to Ukraine include German Leopard 2 tanks, British Challenger 2 tanks, and American Bradley and Stryker vehicles. More than 1,500 vehicles and 230 tanks were delivered to the country by NATO allies and partners, NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg reported at the end of April. Putin said that Russia had destroyed tanks, including Leopards, at the front lines during his speech in St. Petersburg. And if they are based abroad but used in fighting, we will see how to hit them, and where we can hit those means that are used against us in fighting, Putin said. The risk of NATO becoming involved in the conflict is high, he said. Putin said Russia's large nuclear arsenal would guarantee the country's safety at the forum, highlighting the fact that Russia possessed more nuclear weapons than any NATO member. According to the Arms Control Association, Russia possesses approximately 6,250 nuclear warheads as of January 2021. The United States has over 5,500 nuclear weapons, while Britain and France each have around 220 and 290. Putin has stated that the development of nuclear weapons is a necessity for ensuring the survival of the Russian Federation. But first, there is no need, and second, just talking about it lowers the bar for using these weapons, the author writes. Additionally, we have more of these weapons than any NATO country. They're aware of it, and yet they persist in pushing for price cuts. Putin announced in February that Russia would be withdrawing from the New START nuclear arms reduction treaty with the United States, jeopardizing the last remaining pact that regulates the two largest nuclear arsenals in the world. Afterward, the Russian Foreign Ministry declared the decision to be reversible. The treaty caps the United States and Russia's stockpiles of intercontinental nuclear weapons. A 5-year extension was granted in the beginning of 2021. The United States and Russia are allowed to inspect each other's weapon sites as part of the Central Nuclear Arms Control Treaty.